Here. And welcome everyone. Little impromptu.
Yeah, who is?
Deborah, go ahead.
Hey, Deborah.
Hi, Greg. I had a couple of questions that I'll jot down for the next Q&A, but a question came up because the last question, advice you were giving really applies to something I've been experiencing for a really long time. You know, the circumstances are different and all, but I've been using King of Pain on my shoulder and neck. And I've had a massage therapist tell me that she has never seen a neck as tight as mine. And then it goes down into my hips. I can't do that thing with my fingers like you shared.
Same kind of issue.
Yeah.
It can happen for different reasons. And you know, the most common one is like a trauma, like a car accident, like that last person had like a sledding accident or a ski accident, you know, motorcycle accidents, bike crashes. One time I treated somebody that, this sounds really funny, but it wasn't funny, but it's just like you wouldn't think of this, but they were on vacation and over in Hawaii and a coconut fell on top of their head. And you know, it sounds like something out of a cartoon, but it caused actually a severe like neck issue. And so it can happen for all kinds of reasons. You know, sometimes it's just simply like could be even like a sleeping position that you got comfortable with. Sometimes it even started when you were a baby and the way that they laid you in the crib, or you know, there's all kinds of things. But like I like to kind of explore the past a little bit just to see if there is an injury, just so we know what we're dealing with, rather than that it, you know, is sleep or you know, mild concussion or something like that. And so if there was some severe trauma, that means there's patterns in other parts of the body as well. And so you know, going back to like if you're having a hard time with that, like that starts to be the scalenes are like, if you can only do this and you can't do that, the scalenes are impacting your brachial plexus. And so there's another component, you know, I didn't go into all the details and the anatomy and all of that of what we were addressing, but part of what happens with neck issues is that there is this like kind of plane of fascia that's like on the back of the head, back of the neck, down into a little bit of the upper back a little bit. And they call it the nuchal ligament. It's not really a ligament, it's like a plane of fascia, but when it constricts, it affects the muscles in the neck, the head positioning and posture, you know, how your head kind of sits. It actually can even affect like your eyes, like how you position your eyes when you're looking in the environment. You know, when you start to have the issues, then the head might go to a particular way and then the eyes have to roll up. And then even if you're able to come out of it, the muscles around the eyes even get like kind of locked into something. And so it can start this whole like chain reaction of events. And so for you, King of Pain is good. You could still do the Pepper Supreme as well. I would rotate that for you. And the other one for you, you could also, like, I would stay with the King of Pain. I would do Pepper Supreme, and then for you, vetiver. Vetiver, like you could take the vetiver and put like several drops on the fingers, and then rub it into like the base of the skull. Like if you go to like that little indention on the back of your skull, And then you go to each side and you feel those two little bumps, those two little muscles there. Rub vetiver into that really substantially. And then if you go up, like you see kind of, where did that skull go?
It's behind the gong.
Okay. Okay, so you see like about like right in this area. Like if you go back to the side of your head, you'll start to feel like a little indentation behind your ear, like over in here. And there's like a band that goes around from side to side here. Like there's like this little band right here. Rub vetiver all across that band, like from the sides and across that band like that. And then the base of your skull here, rub vetiver here. And you see how like up on this side and up on this side. If that makes
That's
sense.
great.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so by going through and doing that, you're actually releasing that nuchal ligament, right? And as that starts to happen, then do things also to deepen your breath. Hyssop, bronchial blend, larch, any of those should be helpful. And you could do the same thing where you inhale, hold your breath, and then eventually just exhale and let it go. And then inhale, hold your breath for about 4 or 5 seconds. And then after maybe a week of doing that, inhale, hold your breath. And then instead of exhaling, breathe in a little bit more, hold your breath for a second, and then eventually do the second inhalation and then just gently start rocking backward. But again, like I said to her, like don't push it. Like don't like force it, because we don't want to throw the diaphragm into a spasm. And so there's things like that I don't say aloud very often, because I don't want people to do things and then cause the problem to get worse or something. It's usually in the old days I would only do it if I could stand there and guide them. But I mean, you guys are smart. Like if we lay out the guidelines, I think you can figure it out. Just if it starts to feel uncomfortable, just let out the breath and let it be err on the side of letting it be gentle or less rather than too much. That's always the rule of thumb when you're trying to release fascia or unwind something that's been traumatized or in a deep spasm, is you do it somewhat and then you back off. It doesn't have to be all done at once. And so, you do that for a period of time. And, most times within a month or two, you start noticing a pretty significant difference. It can be 3 or 4 months, but I mean, really super severe cases I've seen even take longer. But I mean, it's like it always is improving, but but sometimes it just takes more treatment. The thing is when you're dealing with trauma, there's no set of like, oh, this will happen in 6 weeks, this will happen in 8 weeks. You're unwinding something, and it might take a week, it might take a month, it might take a couple of years. I had a bad injury when I was God, I don't know, in my 20s or something, but I crashed at high speed and hit my shoulder and didn't break anything, but it moved my sternum, like it rotated my sternum a little bit, so it threw my body all off. It took years to unwind it, and the sternum is still a little bit crooked, but the pattern in the fascia is gone, but the structural alignment is off. So I have to do like constant maintenance on the area to make sure that it just never goes back. And I can go years without treating it, but like from time to time, I still got to get it tuned up, and so depends on why it's there. But the neck can get wound up for a lot of reasons, but the breath is something we always look at, go through and like deepen the breath, unwind the bronchioles, unwind the diaphragm. That usually starts to unwind the neck. But then when you start to have the scaling issue and everything, you got to go a little bit deeper. So Yeah, so you could do a version of that. We'll send you the link that when I was explaining it in that last session, we'll send it to you as well. So you have like something that you can reference. But yeah,
Me
that,
too.
that should be quite helpful.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. But for you, Deborah, definitely a lot up on the skull, like go up on the skull.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I go put an order in tonight. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes. Welcome.
And then go ahead, Denise.
Hey, Denise.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I'm right in line with those other two callers. I mean,
Oh, boy.
plus I have a Mohs surgery.
It's scaling night here on our Monday night session.
It's my first time on, but I have a Mohs surgery on the left side of my face, which is actually the side the horse fell on top of me over a 4-foot fence about 39 years ago. So
Oh,
he
wow.
helicoptered around and came down on top. I had a very significant head injury in my neck, and I broke a couple ribs, and I bled into my pelvic area, bled behind my
Yeah.
left eye. But right where where I scraped my face kind of pretty raw and bled behind that left eye, right up in that area is where I have this squamous cell carcinoma that they're going to do a Mohs surgery on. And it looks like I have to have a plastic surgeon to close it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had melanoma once and squamous cell and base, but I've never been sent away from the office to deal with something. This is the first time that I'm doing Mohs or being sent away from the office. So I have like 2 surgeons lined up for next week. But
Right.
the bottom line is that fascia thing, everything you're talking about, because see, I've been doing like cranial sacral. I knew there was
Yeah.
some trauma that needed to be released,
Yeah,
especially
it sounds like a significant trauma.
yeah, it was. You're right.
What was the nature, like how bad? Can you tell me a little bit about the head injury?
Well, they said I took it right to the point of permanent damage. Okay, so just short of that. Okay, it took me years to kind of come back. I just remember my son once saying, "Look, we got mom back," and I didn't even realize I was gone. It just almost broke my heart,
Yeah.
because I didn't realize I was not there per se.
So, but what part of your head got hit? Like, just like the whole head got?
There
the horse
wasn't a
fell on the
part
whole head?
there wasn't a part he didn't roll over because he came down on top of me. He got the pole got wedged between his front legs and he helicoptered around and came down on top of me. I was really very fortunate, both he and I mean, we lived through it. He did crack an inside splint bone, but I don't really, and I don't remember anything other than thinking that he was a little bit deep into that fence. I should have taken off a little bit further out. It was an ox or so a double fence, kind of, a pull in front and a pull behind. So, and then when I was knocked out completely, and I came to and asked about the horse, but then I passed out again. I came to an ambulance and I passed out again, and I came into the ER, but I was up in Canada, so they didn't have a lot of fancy equipment at that point. I had to wait a couple of days and come back down into Bellevue, and then they shot. They don't have some of the, 39 years ago, they didn't have like some of the equipment they have now. So.
Yeah.
But it's really affecting me now. Some things maybe as we get older, some things, and especially since COVID, that was a thing too. So.
And so what are your symptoms these days?
I would say I had the ringing in my ears, but it's quieted down quite a bit. Very, very cold. I was incredibly cold with COVID, especially my ankles and feet. And I couldn't think straight. Oh my gosh, I could hardly put words together initially, words and thoughts. I couldn't email and stuff. But I'm past a lot of that now. Except I still don't have all my energy back. I'm still get pretty cold still. I have a low thyroid. That's probably my one thing.
Okay. And how long has the
Diet.
ringing in the ears been going on?
Oh, since COVID. I didn't have it.
Okay, so just since the COVID.
Yeah, but that's quieted down a whole lot. I've done some, like acupuncture
Yeah.
and on a couple.
So
different-
the thing with like the ringing in the ears, because it's actually not the nerves of the ear, even though we hear it in the ear. It's actually there's like transmitters and receptors in the brain that are misfiring, and we hear it in the ear, but it's actually happening in some of the other places. And so one of the things that, like, if it continues, or like this would also help with, it's not so much even foggy thinking, it's just like your brain kind of, it's like it's basically a form of brain fatigue, and so things like basal or cerebral stimulant, like a brain stimulant. Rosemary always increases circulation. But one of the things that is really good for brain fatigue is sage, and especially either Dalmatian sage or sage triloba, which is a type of sage out of Turkey, and it's a softer sage, and none of those things are very expensive, but I would use quite a bit of it. Like the sage I would inhale, but I would put like 6-8 drops, even 10 drops on your wrist, and like rub it together on a daily basis, just to strengthen the brain. And sometimes it will calm down. I mean, ringing in the ears can happen for different reasons, but definitely can happen with a little bit of brain fatigue. And so brain fatigue can happen from inflammation, from infection, from injury, can happen for all kinds of reasons. And so the other thing is you can use the basil. I would actually put 2 or 3 drops in water and take it like probably 1 to 2 times a day. Basil is very good for reducing mental stress, the reaction to stress. And when we talk about stress, we usually think about it as a psychological thing, but actually most stress is actually physical. Like it's a physiological response. And so, I mean, it doesn't mean that psychological stress doesn't happen, but it is usually even still brought on by a significant amount of physical stress. And so the stress is just anytime the body is like pushed out of balance, or is straining, or is just dealing with difficulty. And so being sick would be one of them. And so I would go back and forth between the basil and the sage for you. If you're having some of the same symptoms, I mean, I'd wait till like after all your surgery stuff is done with your
My skin next
yeah.
and then maybe I'll tune in again with you.
Yeah, and then go through, and we could start walking you through. I mean, some of them you might be able to just even get by right off the bat with doing some inhalation with something that opens up the bronchioles a bit, because that's the thing, is anytime there's like trauma or pain, the bronchioles go into a spasm, right? The thing is like, be it injury or an accident or a near accident, or even like people being aggressive and hostile towards us, your emotions and mind have a response, but your body also has a response, and your body is usually not responding how your emotions and mind are responding. Your body goes into, I have to protect my most vulnerable spots, right? And your 2 most vulnerable spots, as far as the body is concerned, is the gut and the throat.
Oh, wow.
Like if somebody was coming at you, like if you close up your throat and your gut, because injury there is way more substantial than if you got a shoulder injury or you hurt your knee or something. Those are still bad, but throat and digestive tract is potentially fatal, as far as the body is concerned.
Wow.
And so what happens is your bronchioles go into a spasm and your gut goes into a spasm to tension, to try to fend off whatever is coming in. Just like if you were driving and you're getting in a car accident and your body would tense up a whole bunch, your throat and your gut do that regardless of what the trauma is. And so what happens is the throat and the gut tighten up, and then you get through the situation and the body goes, yeah, we're just going to stay like this for a while. We don't really believe that situation is done. Like, I don't know, it was a little bit scary. We're just going to stay like this. Like your body doesn't go, okay, thing is past, let's unwind, right?
Oh,
Your body just goes, we're on red alert. We're going to stay on red alert, right? And it could be a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades later, and your body is like still on red alert. That happened 30 years ago, still going to stay on red alert. Like the body just doesn't shut down. And it has to do with these like neurological functions. It's the more that the nerves fire down a particular pathway, it just becomes easier and easier and just starts to get ingrained, right? It just becomes a habit for the body. And so part of what we're wanting to do with some of these is you're unwinding some of that neurological pattern. And there's different ways of doing it, but basically you're re-educating the body. And so that would be considered neurological regeneration, which is not like making the nerves grow back together. It's actually re-educating how the nerve fires, getting it to go back to like the original way that it was firing. And it doesn't always go completely back, but it can be more normalized.
That makes sense.
Where if you're regenerating something like tissue, it would be increased blood flow, right? That is regenerating to that area. But nerves, you have to re-educate them. And so here with some of that, you would have to go through and kind of re-educate some of those neurological functions. It's just the way that the nerve is firing. And so you can start with the breathing, but like after the surgery and, you recover and everything, then I say you could do a deep dive and go through, and I wouldn't want to pile too many things on you at once.
Yeah, I understand.
So
I've been
let your
doing
body,
I've been doing the marjoram
oh, perfect.
profile.
Yeah.
I've been doing that, and I have it right by my bed. I am always just grabbing that stuff, putting it on my wrist and on the back of my hand, because I have some. They burned me so deeply last time. I almost thought I had nerve damage. So I've been just rubbing it all over that right hand and inhaling it, and then following the protocol and doing a little bit of the fight, flight, or freeze one too.
Oh, good.
Because I've
And-
been
and-
out of
And
it.
so for the surgery, like you said, like they burn you and the pain, galbanum would be good. You can wear it, or you can put a couple drops in water and drink it. It will help take the edge off of the pain. Don't do it like the day before the surgery, but you can do it a few days before, and then afterwards, 2-3 drops multiple times a day, or just inhale it out of the bottle a bunch. And the reason is the galbanum helps to calm down the limbic response to pain. Even like when you sneeze, that's like a limbic response. It's just like a reaction in the body, and it's tied to like a stress response, a fear response, a pain response. It's responses. It's not things that you're thinking out or feeling. It's just your body is reacting, right? And then black cumin would be good just to help reduce the inflammation and accelerate the healing process for the body. And so those could be go-to things right after the surgery. It's how you would treat a lot of different traumas to the body, immediately after the fact. Like say you broke something, or you stubbed a toe or something like that. You take a little bit of galbanum, take a little bit of black cumin, and it will start reducing the inflammation and reducing the pain substantially.
So in water for both of them,
Yeah, exactly. And take them separately. You could put them together, but I always find that they work a little bit better separately.
Oh, thank you so much. And then I'll be joining you guys shortly there.
Keep us posted. Good luck with all of that.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been really important to me. Thank you.
Okay. So angel questions, Q&A, we can also do that. I can lead you guys in a little something, but I know this was supposed to be the angel study group, but I just thought those questions were important. And so, yeah. And we're doing it Monday instead of Tuesday. So we're breaking all the rules. So I thought we'd do it again tonight.
So yeah, if you want to type in any angel questions or you can unmute yourself for a
Yeah, and
minute.
if not, I'll guide you through a process, but. Okay, so let's do this. Since we had 3 people right in a row, boom, 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 that had the scaling issue with the breathing and potential paradoxical breathing, let's actually go through and just treat this a little bit. And we'll do a little guided practice with that. Pull out some oil that you have that would help the breath. You know, hyssop if you had it, larch, bronchioles, some respiratory oil, even pine. Pine can be good. Like the last person said, they had marjoram. You could use marjoram. Something that's relaxing if you don't have any of those, something that's soothing and relaxing. Okay, before we start inhaling something, just take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. And then hold your breath. And then try to slowly let out the breath evenly. Okay. Now, go ahead and begin just taking some long, slow, deep breaths with whatever oil that you have. Take long, slow, deep breaths. Okay. And then take a long, slow, deep breath. And then hold your breath. And then slowly exhale. And then just take some regular, normal breaths. Okay. Again, inhale the oil. Take a long, slow, deep breath. Hold your breath. And slowly exhale. Again, long, slow, deep breath with the oil. Hold your breath. Keep holding. Keep holding. Slowly exhale. Okay, and now we're going to do just a moment of what we call pursed lip breathing. So I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to talk you through it. So you're basically going to inhale through your nose, and then you're going to hold your breath, and then you're going to make your lips really tight, except for a little tiny hole, like right in the middle right there. And then as you exhale, you're having to force the air out of that little hole in between your lips as hard as you can. So the goal is to make the hole really small. So you really have to push the air out, right? So it looks a little bit like this. Okay, so inhale. And exhale through your pursed lips. And inhale again, and exhale through the pursed lips again. And then again, inhale, again through the pursed lips. And then just be still for a moment and just breathe normal. Don't try to regulate your breath, just let everything normalize itself. Okay, and then oil back up to your nose and just long, slow, deep breath in. Hold your breath. Gently exhale. Again, long, slow, deep breath in. And gently exhale. Again, long, slow, deep breath in. And gently exhale. Just let everything regulate for a moment. Just be still. Okay, we're going to do the pursed lip breathing again. So inhale. Hold your breath. Purse your lips and then force the air out. And then again, inhale. Purse lips, exhale. And you just let your breath regulate. Now just take some long, slow, deep breaths with the oil again. Just in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, check in with your breath. Just inhale slowly like we did at the very beginning. And then exhale as slow as you can. And see how your breath changed. This is also a way to treat some forms of anxiety, by the way. So, sometimes anxiety is actually simply the breath. So, okay, you guys. Well, thanks for joining us on an odd night. I know we're normally Tuesdays, but we're traveling tomorrow. So Wednesday we're back on, and then I see I think a bunch of you on the weekend on this weekend. So from all of us here, thanks, and we'll see you again sometime soon. Take care.